exercise, I've been walking up the Dutch River, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to do a 5-minute history. Here is a map of the Don catchment, and you can see Goole at the top there, although it's the bottom of the catchment, which I always have to think about. So, how the catchment works is all the water in the upper reaches eventually works its way to Goole. So all the water you can see here will have come from Barnsley down the Dearne, off the peaks through Sheffield onto the main Don and through Doncaster, and all the way from Chesterfield on the Rother. Then it goes into the Ouse. I think I've made it look a bit rainy in Goole there, so I'll just put that right with a bit of sunshine. Likewise, this is where salmon are getting into the catchment. So after they've come into the Humber from being at sea, they found the mouth of the Don and worked their way up to Sheffield, and they've also been seen in the Dearne too. When we're looking into the history of rivers, there are often clues you can spot. So here you can see the river heading to Goole is very straight, which rivers aren't normally. There's also a suspicious right angle, which wouldn't really be natural. And also, why is it called the Dutch River when it's actually the River Don? Well, to figure this all out, we have to go back in time to the 1620s and also zoom out a bit so we can see the area historically known as the Hatfield Chase. The name Chase suggests that this was used as a hunting ground, and in fact it belonged to the Crown. It was also written into law that local people had rights to access it as common land, to pasture animals and to fish. I've put the Goole on the map here for reference, although it wasn't really on the map at the time, and there certainly wasn't a river flowing into it yet. What King Charles I decided to do was to drain this whole area, because for most of the year it was marshland, and to do that he brought in a Dutch engineer called Cornelius Vermuyden. That's why it's called the Dutch River. Between 1627 and 1629, the whole eastern section of the Don that ran into the Trent was cut off. The Idle was diverted into the Buyscar Dyke, and a new channel was cut for the Torn, so it ran directly into the Trent near Althorpe. This was not a popular scheme locally. The deal was that once the drainage was finished, Charles I would retain a third of the ownership, Vermuyden would have a third, and local landowners would divide up the remaining third. But in doing so, a lot of the common land rights were lost, and it was claimed by the locals they were getting the worst of the land. It also meant that previously dry areas like Fish Lake, Snaith and Sykehouse started flooding, because all the water from the Don was now going up a single channel to the Aire, and it didn't have enough capacity to cope. There was a big rebellion locally. Sluice gates were destroyed, embankments were damaged, and fights broke out between locals and the labourers. Eventually, after lawyers got involved, in 1635 a drain was cut from near the Went up to where Goole is now, and this is what became known as the Dutch River. The small reach up to the Aire remained open for navigation for a while, but eventually fell out of use when the canal was developed into the 1820s, so that the Don now only flows into the Ouse. Here I am on the Dutch River Bridge, and the Don empties into the Ouse a few hundred metres behind me. Who knows if Goole would even be here without all that drainage on the Hatfield Chase and Vermuyden, but Vermuyden's name and his legacy lives on in some of the buildings in Goole today. Thank you very much for listening. Stay safe everybody, and bye for now.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see.